We're going to start our special segment called What Are Technology Leaders Really Concerned About When It Comes to AI? And I've got with me again for this short intro, Biff Myre, who's Director of Industry Solutions over at CBTS. Again, I'll say hello, Biff. How are you?
Doing great, Alex. Thanks for having me. And yeah, this has been great. This is a lot of
It-
fun.
yeah, it's been a lot of fun so far, and thanks for being on this special segment. And this content that we're going to show you or talk about came from two sources. One is we just had our recent AI in the Enterprise Summit that was in the spring here in Chicagoland. I hope to get big. I hope one day to do it somewhere warm, really warm, and also CBTS roundtables that you all have,
Correct.
or private roundtables that you all have been doing with your executive clients. And
Yeah.
so let's go through some of these. The first batch. Now, these are what I promised you in the when we marketed the event. For the summit that we recently had, we had everybody write a note like what's their burning question, and we had them talk about it. And what's really interesting is what we heard from some of the executives is number one, adoption. The majority of employees are not adopting AI. And what's really, it blew us all away in the room because all of us are in this bubble, Biff, right? Where we think, oh my God, everyone we talk about is using it, our friends use it. But guess what? At these companies, and these were mid-sized and large companies,
Yeah.
the employees are not all buying into this, right?
Exactly. No, exactly. You've got you got all kinds of different fronts. I mean, one is just how do I even get started, right? And is
Yeah,
the company enabling that? The other is, okay, well, they've told me that if I use this, then I'm gonna be able to automate, most of my job or half my job, and
right.
there's a quick backlash to that, like, and it's nothing different than we haven't seen with the cloud or managed services or digital transformation and how you go about solving that, right?
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. You go ahead and say it.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
just,
just
yeah,
it's really the culture is so important of
yeah,
how you educate and roll out and again as we kind of present to people, look, we're trying not trying to replace people, we're trying to have people replace their menial tasks and make them more efficient so they can scale.
yeah,
If you want growth, if you want growth out of your organization, you've got to be able to scale and do things that where you don't want to hire 100 people to do things
yeah.
when you can have a few people and AI, right? That's
That's right.
that's still growth. That's not reducing. Um,
Yeah, but you got to convince the employees. And then when you're
right.
telling them you're going to train the AI, why am I training the AI to replace
So one
me?
one little
Yeah,
one little
yeah,
secret or tidbit, right? And this has been
yeah,
around since cloud, since
yeah,
managed services, right? Is I would talk to executives and I'd say they'd be concerned with this. Like, what
yeah,
is what is Larry and Jill gonna do? If I tell them that we're gonna outsource their doing the backups or whatever they're doing, right? And I said, well, here's what you do. You first set up what you want them to take on. What's those higher value level tasks or initiatives that you got a whole you got a whole like list of them that the business is asking you for and you haven't gotten to, right? Pick those out, start assigning them to them, start telling them they need to start leading these initiatives.
yeah,
And then next thing you know, what's the next step? They're like, well, I don't have time for that because I've got to do X, Y, Z, right? And then that's when you say, no problem. You know what we're going to do? We're going to take that off your plate so then you can focus on these initiatives. You've got to sell and present the vision of where you want them to go and show them, but you got to but then they're going to see, well, that's
yeah,
how am I going to do that? I don't have time, and then you give
yeah,
them the time, right?
yeah. Give them the time. Yeah. So let's go. Speaking of time, we got to get through all these. So let's keep moving. So I'm going to read the next two, and what I'm going to ask you is for short sound bites
Yeah,
on
yeah,
these next
no
two.
worries.
So AI sprawl, multiple tools by multiple teams with no real plan or governance. That was interesting. We had a lot of people raise their hands on that one. It's like,
Mhm.
at the one, it's kind of counterintuitive because at the one hand, you hear people saying, my employees aren't adopting it. But at the same time, sprawl is occurring for the people that are adopting it, right?
Oh,
You
it's
know,
it's the next shadow IT, right?
it is
Not only do
shadowing.
you have yeah, the people are bringing in their own tools. They're using their personal tools. If you don't give them what they're looking for, the ones that are on the early adopters, they're going to
They're
just
gonna
go do it themselves.
they're doing it. Cell
Yeah.
phone, shadow IT, the whole thing. We've seen this before. Okay, tokenomics, cost. And we heard that in some cases the bills are much more expensive than what they thought. Again, counterintuitive to number one, but for the people that are adopting it, they're really using it.
Yes.
And the scary thing that we brought up in the conference was these rates are artificially low in many cases. Am I wrong about that?
No,
It-
you're not. And
they're
then eventually,
subsidized rates.
yeah,
Why do you think they're raising trillions of dollars? I mean, that circus has to end at some point, and the customers have to pay for this.
correct.
Somebody's got to, am I right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's basically to come back to budgetary accountability at some point.
Yeah.
And what are you using this for? And is there negative ROI because you're using, the right, or, also the speed of when you need things, right? You don't need everything immediately, right? You could say, hey, I can wait 10 minutes to come back and, give me the answer I need. So yeah, it's big right now. And it's not just the spending too, but also people are blowing through their tokens and then they don't have any. And so now they're okay, got half the month left and I don't have any tokens, right? So, and what
Yeah,
did they
they do.
spend them
Oh,
on?
my productivity is here, and then boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right, let's keep moving. So, by the way, everybody, when you look back at the recording, there's headlines that I looked up that relate to what we learned because I wanted to sort of level set it. Are we kind of out in the middle of nowhere with some of these things? But we're not. These trends that we were seeing in our room are occurring all over the place. Gartner, KPMG, CIO Dive. Okay, let's go to somebody who keynoted, Tim Walter, and many of you in the Chicagoland area know Tim. I think he's the president-elect of SIM this next year, by
Hmm.
the way. I don't know if
Yeah.
you knew that. And he's been out speaking about an RFP project that he did with AI, which was very successful the first year. And then he gave for us a lessons learned, and he recorded a one, which is on the site. And some of these key lessons, I want you to see what he shared real quickly, just to give you a level set of that. And I highly recommend anyone doing an AI project watch this one for sure. This is from Tim. I'm just going to play a minute of it. Do in this video today is you're going to share your framework or your key lessons learned. What's the first main lesson that you want everybody to start with?
The first lesson, Alex, is you have to begin with the business problem first. We do this in all our projects. Everybody focuses on saying, what are our pain points? And you have to begin there. So when we started this, we said, what is it we're trying to solve? And again, this is very basics. It's getting back to the basics. There is a lot of pressure coming from the board, leadership, everybody saying, hey, we need AI, we need AI. But it's just one of the things that it is going to be here, I feel, for a long time. But when you start looking at what are our pains, how do we improve what we're trying to do, you have to begin with the problem. From there, just like any other project, you say, okay, these are the things we're trying to do. What is our end game? How do we get to that end game? Then you work backwards a little and say, okay, now there may be, and I'm going to say
Yeah.
maybe because there's no guarantee,
Yeah.
there could be an AI solution. AI has been around for a long time. We've all been using it in different ways, RPA, machine learning, conversational. It's just to a point where it really has made it into the mainstream. Now there's the opportunity to say, okay, yes, this can be solved using some AI technology, but it's still a business process. It's a flow. We still have to begin with the business needs as we start down the journey.
I I mean, this is sound fundamental advice.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What I really love about his scenario and what they did with AI, right? And
Yeah.
it kind of goes back to like, again, not here to try to take people's jobs from them, but try to enable growth, right? So
Yeah.
if you think you're going to use AI to cut costs, that's going to be a very dangerous road to go down. If you think you're going to use AI to enable growth, enable people to be more productive, and in his case, be able to grow top line revenue, right? Being, then that is a great initiative, a great a story that he has, and definitely worth watching.
I think you're right on the money. And, people say, what should I do AI for? In your slide next, we'll talk about that then. Find a business problem. I've heard it say, find the friction, but find one that if you're starting, you're going to build support, find one know. Let's say you come up with 10 problems, that there's 10 sources of friction. Find one that if you just beat it a little, you're going to get an ROI. So
Yeah.
everybody's excited. They found one, which was what I call a good problem, which was they couldn't fulfill all their RFPs. So the logic was, hey, if we could just do the RFP faster, we could do more. And of course, you still got to pick the right ones to do. And I'm sure it helps with that too. Is this a fit? Can we sell this? Can we provide this service? And it was a lot of money that they
Yeah.
got in the first 6 months. And the funny thing is, in the presentation that he did in the event, he was saying, yeah, it took a long time and we were all worried about it. And everybody's like, how long did it take? He goes, oh, 4 to 6 months. And we're all looking around saying, how is that a long time? That sounds amazing.
Yes.
So, so
46 months. It was
he's
a
got a
few
tough
hundred
crowd.
thousand,
If
and it made millions. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
it made
tens of
millions.
millions.
It made a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's keep moving. The pressure from above is high to leverage AI, but we need to find a project and a right to have a successful project and the right support. So we already just covered that. So we'll
Yeah.
skip by that. Board members and other executives think they understand how AI works, but they really don't. And I think we just covered that. I'll just say it. We'll go on to yours. But, a lot of times what I'm hearing is that, the board, everybody's using AI at some level. Pretty much.
Right.
Not all the employees, but a lot of the executives, we all are. And they say, I know how this stuff works. I talk to ChatGPT all the time. You can just hear
Right.
your board chairman talking to you like that, right? And okay, do you know it's not actually talking to you? Do you know it's just estimating an answer based upon the algorithm and
Right.
things like that, and it makes stuff up? Are you aware of that?
Yeah, I think
Ah,
this one
yeah,
definitely speaks to their own data, right? Needing, if you really want to, understand that, is, yeah, you can go on ChatGPT, it's searching, it's crawling the web, it's giving
yeah.
you back your answers. But when
Good
you
answer.
really want to use it in your business, it has to be able to access your data. That data's got to be good data, and a lot of those foundational plumbing isn't in place.
So I think that's a really, really good deep insight is that the returns that we're starting to see are with the data that's more public, the data that you can feed into. Like Tim's
Right.
example was a tech stack a vendor had that they put together an AI that they could calibrate with your data and feed your data, and it doesn't share. And that was a good use. Let's keep moving. Now, the next set of topics, three or four, are from your list, from your
Yeah.
CBTS roundtable. So, again, we need to keep moving here. So, let's pick one from this slide and go through it pretty quickly. I'll just read both of them. What should I focus on with AI? These are questions that the CXOs were asking your team.
Correct. Yeah.
What should I focus on with AI? Help me with ideas to bring my business on how to use AI effectively. What are good use case scenarios? All right. And then I backed up your comments with some research to show that, yeah, this is something that people are struggling with. How can I assure adoption of the AI investments we are making uh, works? And again, here's another one from another company about state of digital transformation, same exact issue. So which one you want
Right.
to tackle with a short?
Well, we can do the first one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
first
ahead.
one. Bottom line is just like Tim said. It starts with the business problem, right? You
Yeah,
have to define it. It's not run full into buying a shiny tool. Some of the other things you have to think about is: are you going to own your own data when you're done, or are you
yeah.
going to outsource this to SaaS and continue to pay a SaaS fee every month? But really, it's focusing on what is that business problem, and then going through the motions, and taking a little time to then vet the ROI with your CFO, with your finance team, and the business units. Because if you think about it, I always like to say this, right? When it's free, everybody will do it. Everybody says yes. when it's not free anymore, people will take, and when I say by free, right now companies are investing in AI. They're handing out Copilot, Claude licenses, all this. Everybody's going using their tokens, right? The accountability isn't there yet, right? When it doesn't become free, or when there's really very tight controls around the financials, that's when you really want to focus on what am I going to do, stack ranked, what makes sense that pays me back, that's going to grow our top line, maybe shrink our bottom line, but or give us more productivity. And then then you take one or two of those use cases, and that's when you play them through, right? And you get your pilot, and you see all the other things that may jump up. Okay, wait a minute. We can go build an agent, but we don't have any. Where's the data going to get pulled from, or
Yeah.
how are we going to make sure it's guardrailed and secured, right? Just by doing a mini pilot like that, you can learn so much, but also pick one that has also been vetted, so it's going to give you ROI. So you
Yeah.
kind of said it, hit it on its head, right? So, have pick something and be successful, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then keep moving. And Tim's already on to his next few. He already
Yeah,
told me.
exactly.
Yeah. All right, let's cover the next two. And I know the one that I want to really zero in on. Uh, they're both good. So let's see if we can cover both of them real quick. Cybersecurity, how do I protect the company, but at the same time, cybersecurity concerns keep getting in the way? That was one you shared with me, and I heard it at
Yes.
the conference also. I forgot to put it in the first chart. Data, how do I get data ready for AI at the same time protect proprietary data? Kind of related there. So let's cover real quickly, and we got to do this quick because we're going to run out of time soon. So so cybersecurity, it's a two-part question. The first part you mentioned was that you try and do these AI initiatives and you start thinking about guardrails and cybersecurity goes, we can't do that. We can't do that. So
Yep.
talk about that for a
Put
second.
yourself in the CISO's position right
Yeah.
now, right?
Yeah.
After how many years has it been? Everybody's putting up walls, moats. There's segregating the data,
Yeah.
segregating access to it, and now all of a sudden they have to. The goal is for AI, and we're going to put it all in one spot and give as many people access to it as they can. Plus these automated agents who's doing who knows what, right? And think about how their world just turned upside down, right?
Oh my God.
And so now you've got, we've seen it before in the cloud, right? Going to the cloud, there was big friction on security of taking your data, move
Yeah.
it into somebody else's cloud. It's the same thing, only on steroids now. And so what I see happening more and more is, one, there's lots of internal fights going on between security and the business side. Well, I wouldn't want to be a CISO right now because of that. And two, you've got to figure out how to secure your data itself, right? So make the data unusable if somebody is able to get to it, extract it, and there's certain tools and technologies out there that can allow you to do that. But I
Yeah.
think that is the next wave, is securing the data to where it can't be exfiltrated and be usable, and even
Oh,
internally, it's masked that only certain people and maybe a combination of them ever get the full key to the kingdom if they all work together, right?
I think that is such a deep insight. In fact, I wasn't planning on showing you this, but I want to get your take on this. Uh, this is from our site. I interviewed this young man. You're right on the money. So, where is this? Where is he? Quantum's coming. Quantum computing is coming. We all know what
Yeah.
C-Day means, right?
Yep.
So, or Q-Day, sorry. So, what Ram has told me in this interview, and he's a professor, he's really smart, is we're already there
Yeah.
because people are siphoning the data. Like even in this call we're doing right now, it's
Yeah.
out there and you think, oh, it's secure, it's on Microsoft. No, you can get to this data and they're hoarding this data until the quantum computing comes for their future. So then they can crack all this information.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. All the data that the people have exfiltrated, even if it's encrypted, they're hoarding it for the day that they can unlock it.
You've heard this before.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's scary.
Yes.
It's scary. So if you're the cybersecurity executive and you know this, you got to be going, oh my God,
Right.
how's this going to work? How's this going to work? You know what? It's an interesting challenge for these folks. All right, let's segue into data. How do I get the data ready for AI at the same time? Net answer on this one. So because we got to keep moving, but you know, you're talking to a client, net. Here's the three things you need to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think the very first is you have to know, you have to have your data classified, right?
Yeah,
And
what data?
yeah, right. What is the data? What who owns it? Who's the business owner of that data? And what's the level of confidentiality, security you need around it, right?
Yeah.
These are We've heard this for eons, right? And
Yeah, it's not new.
now it's finally come to roost, because if you don't do this as a company, if you don't invest in cleaning this all up, any of your AI is going to be throwing good money after bad, right? You have to get your data ready.
Yeah, that's good. Anything, what's next?
Well, then what's next is where are you going to put it, right? And is it going to be, is it going to be your data wherever you put it, right?
Oh,
So
right.
yeah,
And is it in it?
and
Here's
then
one.
and then are
Is it in the USA or is it
right,
somewhere in Eastern Europe that they didn't tell you?
right.
Right?
And are you using some SaaS models where who knows what all you're doing is still stay proprietary to you, right?
Yeah.
If you're out there building agents in a SaaS model, or setting up skills or whatever you're doing, is that truly staying in your domain, right? Or is some of that knowledge being siphoned off and used by others that are providing you that SaaS model? Or even, are they training their agents on your data? So, where is it? Does it stay yours? Are you in control of it? And I think the last is just kind of bubbles up to the security piece of it, identifying how you're going to secure it and how you're going to
Yeah.
put your guardrails in.
Uh, Yeah. The logistical stuff is easier than some of this other
Right,
stuff.
right.
Yeah. So here's an interesting question I just thought of. I'll tie in the initial news that we covered with SpaceX. So data centers are in space, and you've got all your data on a
You got your
SpaceX.
physical security covered, I think, then.
You've maybe, maybe. I don't know. I've watched a lot of movies, a lot of James Bond movies where remember the original moon landing where they grabbed the guy? Remember that
Yeah.
one? So I love those movies. So, anyways, you've got your data in space. Now, what law is it under?
Yeah. Yeah.
Think about it.
Oh, yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
real issue.
It is.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, well, sure, we took it. We didn't violate any rules.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you going to govern me in space when there is no governance?
They got a few $1 trillion to figure that one out.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure they'll find it. I think that's what they'll be
Well,
doing. All right.
as we've seen his strategy, I mean, that's probably part of his strategy is he can go up there and do whatever he wants and nobody can stop him, right? And nobody
Yeah.
can, yeah.
I
If
know he's going to have an individual car that looks like the Tesla, like a space car. I want one. I will lease that. I
he's
will
going to
totally
drop
get
some
that.
Cybertrucks on the moon.
Absolutely. Big tires.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been a great segment. What are technology leaders really concerned about with AI? Biff, having you here today is also a great added value. So this has been Biff Myre. So Biff, thanks for doing this segment called What Are
Yeah.
Technology Leaders Really Concerned About with AI?